Welcome back to The Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, I love talking all things reality TV, and today we are talking about something that I cannot get enough of lately, and that is the international reality shows on Netflix. If you've seen any of my recent monthly recap videos, you might have seen my growing love for the international section on Netflix, and I felt like it was high time to just dedicate a whole video to it. Also, this isn't an ad for Netflix or anything. I just feel like it's a pretty easy barrier to entry for people looking for international shows. It's like if you already have a Netflix subscription, there's a lot of them out there just easily available for you to check out. The very first thing I want to talk about is the voiceover actors. I feel like with international shows a lot, a big thing people worry about that kind of prevents them from taking that first step into trying the show is worrying about the language barrier. I know there are a lot of people when they watch reality TV, they don't necessarily want to sit there and have to read subtitles. A lot of us are watching TV, having it on in the background while doing something else. I know that's what I'm usually doing, and that was something that kind of stopped me at first because I saw that all the Netflix international shows seem to do voiceovers with the English versions, but I was always just worried, like, how good are those voice actors gonna really be? Like, it's one thing to have a voiceover for a scripted show, but when it's reality TV, like, are they really gonna be able to do it? And let me tell you, all the ones I've tried so far, the voice acting has been phenomenal. I will say it may be kind of jarring at first if you've never watched something with a voiceover. It can be a little weird because you do hear that underlying them speaking in the original language with the voiceover going on top of it, and that might be weird for people at first, but I would definitely encourage you to try to stick it out for like a full episode at least, and then if you don't like it, you can go away, you tried your best. But I really feel like, especially with how well a lot of these voice actors do, at least on all the shows I've tried so far, you really forget after a while that they're voice acting. You get immersed in it, you forget about it, because so many of them are just doing so well. I feel like another barrier for some people, and it's not just a barrier with trying international shows, but new shows in general, is that fear of like, am I going to waste my time? Is it going to be worth it? Do I even want to give this an episode? And one way I'd encourage you to start branching out into the Netflix international reality TV universe would be to try out shows you already know you like in the international versions, because there are quite a few. Love is Blind, The Circle, The Ultimatum, just to name probably the most popular ones. It's also a great excuse to try them out, because if you love a certain show like The Circle and you're just dying to watch more of it, you can. Just watch one of the other different countries and boom, you have more seasons of The Circle at your disposal. And a great benefit of that, especially with the shows that are one for one, like an American version and then an international version, but also with just international shows in general, is it's so interesting to see how different cultures are in different situations. Like seeing the different cultures all participate in Love is Blind, it's just a fun time. It's very different. It's very interesting to see how different people in like the same situations react to things, and especially having that extra layer of differences in culture, differences in how you communicate with the different sexes. Just all of it is so interesting if you like that sort of thing, if you like seeing other cultures and all of that. And then kind of on the flip side of that, if you are tired of some of those same shows, you feel like Love is Blind is just the same, you've seen The Circle, it's getting boring, going to these international shows can open you up to different gaming formats that you haven't gotten to see yet. And like, yes, trying any new show could theoretically open you up to new gaming formats, but I'm just saying this is a very easy way to find different types of shows, because I know that's kind of how I started getting interested in looking in the international shows, is I was just getting so bored. I just wanted something different, and I was like, fine, I will leave the country to find something different, and I have found some. And I think with that, I should talk about some of the fantastic shows I have watched recently to give you some recommendations and some ideas of where you should start. Speaking on the point of a show that I just feel is so unique, such an interesting and different gaming sort of atmosphere, is The Devil's Plan. This is a Korean reality TV show, and it is Probably my favorite. I cried when the first season ended. It also had a second season that just came out recently. I have not watched it yet because I need to. That's a show that I sit down and want to dedicate time to. That's how good it is. I can't be doing something while watching it. This time, I want to just really sit down and watch it. Because when The Devil's Plan first started, I didn't know if I was going to love it or not. So some of the episodes was kind of, I was doing some other stuff. And this time for season 2, I want to be locked in. I want to be playing the games with them because, y'all, the games in this show are so complicated. Literally, anytime that they have a competition within themselves that they're about to do, they usually have notepads writing all the rules out because it'll have so many layers of complexity, and that's something I love about The Devil's Plan. Last time I talked about The Devil's Plan was in whatever monthly recap was the month that I found The Devil's Plan. It might have been May. It might have been this last one. It doesn't matter. Point is, back then, when I was talking about it, I couldn't find anything to compare it to. And I've been sitting here on the internet trying to think of something to compare it to. I went to the Devil's Plan subreddit, looking at posts of other people also in the same predicament of like, you love the Devil's Plan, you want something similar, or more so in my case, I'm trying to say something similar. So if you like that something similar show, you're like, oh, maybe I'll like the Devil's Plan. But honestly, it's just so unique. It is such a brain and like mind and like actual like thinking games, not just like social strategy. It's very like there's math games involved. Like it's very brainy, it's very cerebral, and there is also the social aspect of it, but it's just so unique. When people on this subreddit are mostly just recommending shows from that same producer, which are also South Korean shows, so I don't really know if you haven't really been like in the international show sphere. I don't really feel like that's going to be super helpful in comparing it. I feel like the best comparisons I've seen so far are The Mole, kinda, but not really. Maybe The Traders. It's really if you're more into like brain games than you are into physical games, because there are no physical challenges in this entire thing. It is all mind games, and by mind games, I don't mean like social strategy mind games. I mean like, again, like math or like puzzles, things like that. You will love The Devil's Plan. The cast is also just so lovely. The way they are with each other is really fun. Just, I literally can't recommend that show enough. That's why I wanted to start with it. The next show I want to talk about is a French show called Don't Hate the Player. I also talked about it recently in a monthly recap, but I thought it was worth talking about again here. This one has stayed top of mind for me because while it doesn't have direct one-for-one shows, like for example, Love is Blind. Love is Blind is called Love is Blind in all the different country formats. This one, however, does have the same version in other countries, just with like slightly different names, but it's made by the same production company, the Lambert Studio, which also does like The Circle and The Traders, like a bunch of big ones, and I really want to see their other versions. They have an English version that's called Fight for Paradise, Who Can You Trust? And then a German version called Surviving Paradise. And while I haven't gotten to watch them yet, I have like read up on them and looked at clips of them, and pretty much just the same show, but in different languages. I said the Lambert Studio. It's Studio Lambert. That's my bad. Whatever. And the reason this one has stayed on the top of my list for ones I want to check out that are similar shows but different cultures is because this one is very much a social strategy game. While they do have different challenges they have to complete, the main component of it is the social aspect of it. Because pretty much what happens is they put all these people on a survivor style beach where they have like nothing. They have like cots and they give them lentils and very survivor vibes. But they can earn their way to this luxury villa. So at one point you have like almost half of them in this luxury villa with all this extra food, and then some of them starving, like literally like so hungry, like they're out in the wilderness. It's literally like Survivor. It's so wild. And the social component of all of it, where they have like decisions they need to make about like who they need to send up there and for whatever reason, it's really interesting. I will say with the French version, it wasn't my I like the show format. I just feel like some things that happened within the show weren't fantastic. I can't say. I feel like okay, I'm just going to say it. In my opinion, there was some kind of racist stuff happening. It's hard though when you're watching these shows where it's a different culture, but I saw other people on Reddit saying the same thing. And that's how I felt about it. I still want to see what the other shows are like because that could have just been a symptom of that cast, of that culture. I don't really know, but I will give that heads up for y'all out there who might want to go check it out. There was some weird vibes. There was some weird kind of like misogynistic, kind of racist. It was weird, but I still want to see the other versions and see if they're just all weird. I want to see if like the game kind of breeds this kind of atmosphere. Very interested to find out, but we'll just warn you at least with the French version. It's a little dodgy at times. And I'll say with this one, if you like Studio Lambert's other shows like The Traitors, if you like The Circle, if you like some other shows like The Mole, for example, The Trust, that's another show on Netflix that's very social game strategy along with some like actual challenges thrown in there. This is your type of show. It's very social games, but a little bit of challenges, but they're not necessarily like, huge physical challenges like that happen on Survivor or even like super crazy brainy challenges. I'd say they're kind of middle of the road challenges, if that makes any sense. Kind of more basic puzzles, kind of things like that. I do want to clarify one thing. I don't mean to say the challenges aren't difficult for them. I just mean they're not super like intricate necessarily for the most part. The big thing is the social game at the end of the day. The next show I have for offering for you all is another show that's near and dear to my heart. I love this show so much, and it is Love Never Lies. And although it is a top tier one and one of my favorites, I actually haven't seen the original version yet. This show actually started out in Spain. It was a Spanish show, and then we got a Polish and a South African version, and I have only seen the Polish and South African version, but I've seen all three of the Polish version. The Polish version, honestly, the South African version was great. It just only has one season so far, but, just 10/10. I love Never Lies. This is going to be your show if you like relationship-centered shows, things like The Ultimatum. I think that's kind of usually the one I can think of that gives the most similar vibes. How this one works, though, is they take these couples that have different trust issues and whatnot and put them into two different houses. And they have these, like, sad names. They're different for the Polish one and the South African one, but pretty much one's, like, the fun, good time house, and one's, like, the reflection, sad house. So while the people are in the fun, good time house, they are tempted with singles, and it's not even like just general some people are brought in. They bring in specific people and pair them up with each person trying to tempt them. Like they pick specific people for each person that they think will be a good temptation for them. And while you're at the sad time reflection house, you're sitting around talking with the other, I don't want to call them singles because they're not singles, but the other half of all the other couples, because they don't even split them up like all men and all women. It's just kind of split up among the couples. So they talk, about their relationship, try to reflect on things, and at the same time, they're seeing clips from the fun time house. But a lot of times they can only see those clips if they spend money from the grand prize, because at the end of this show, there is a grand prize. We'll get to that element in a minute, but we have to talk about the houses first. Because without fail, and really the thing I love about this show is every time the people in the sad reflection house do not care about the prize pot. They don't care. They just want to see those clips, and I love it. I love that for them. It's entertaining every time to me. I'm like, play the clip. And they never let me down for the most part. It's like, that's the main component of the show, in my opinion, even though that's definitely not actually the main component of the show, I guess. So really, the main point of the show, since it's literally in the name, is the lying aspect of it. And pretty much each person has been put in one of those like interview type rooms and asked questions where their special lie detector software can tell if they're lying or not. And at the ceremonies, they will play these. It'll show the person and they'll see the question. It'll be like, have you ever cheated on so-and-so? And they'll be like, no. And then it'll come up like in big letters, whether it's the truth or a lie. If they lie, it takes away from the prize pot. If they tell the truth, it adds to the prize pot. But really, at the end of the day, the prize pot ends up kind of netting out. It doesn't ever seem to get that much bigger or that much lower. It just kind of stays consistent. So at the end of the day, a lot of that is not like super important to me. The ceremony's only fun for like the juiciness, the drama of all of it. But the bigger component definitely for me is the houses, because wild scenario. Also, I want your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Would you rather start out in the fun house and then have to go to the sad reflection house? Or would you rather start in the sad reflection house, then go to the fun house? I personally feel like I would want to do plan B, but I'd love to hear from other people. I say that like you don't get to pick. For all I can tell, you do not get to pick. I highly doubt they would get to pick. I just want to know if you did get to pick what you would be wanting to do. And I guess the other big thing about the lying is the couple who lies the least, who tells the least amount of lies in all those ceremonies, ends up being the ones who win the cash prize. But truly and deeply, the cash prize on this show is like the cash prize on Love Island to me. It literally means nothing, and I never think about it until it happens at the end. Like, during those ceremonies, I'm just paying attention to the gossip. Not paying attention at all to how much the price for the cash prize goes up and down. Doesn't matter to me. Don't think about it. Inconsequential to me. Really, at the end of the day, I just want to know who stayed together, who didn't. I care way more about that than who ends up winning, so that's my personal opinion on it. These next two shows, I actually found and binged both of them this weekend while I was working on a project, which worked out great because I had been planning to do this video this week anyway, but I was glad to bring some fresh new ones into the mix that I hadn't already talked about in some monthly recaps, and here they are. And I literally didn't even do it intentionally. I probably should have, knowing I was doing this video. It's just the craving. I just love these international shows, and I hadn't watched one in a minute, and I was missing it, and it just came into my life, and then I went, oh yeah, that was the video I was planning for. The world works out sometimes. First, we're going to start with Summer Job, which is an Italian reality series, and this one was fantastic for me. I loved every minute of this. The premise of the show is they take these really young, like spoiled, rich Italian kids. They're literally from like 18 to 22, and they tell them they've won this like dream vacation. I think the show that the fake show that they say they're going to be on is called like Summer Fever or something similar to that. And they get to this beautiful villa and they find out that this vacation isn't for free. They're going to have to work for it if they want to stay there. So how it goes is each week the host comes in and gives them their job assignments. They're usually in groups of like 2 to 3 going to these different job locations, and they go and do the work, and at the end of the week they get an envelope that is either empty or has a paycheck in it, and they have this little ceremony where everybody opens it, and if you come up with an empty envelope, you can be up for elimination, and only the people who ended up getting a full check get to vote on who gets eliminated out of the people who did not have anything in their envelope. And this one, similar to Love Never Lies, has a component where they can choose to spend money, but they have to take it out of the prize pot. And when I tell you, these kids spend money at every single opportunity, anytime, any moment. They're like, do you want pizza? 2,000 euros or whatever it was, I can't remember right now. And they're like, done, give it to us. Like, do you want to go drink on a boat? 5,000. And they're like, yes. And that was my favorite part of it. When I saw that was going to be a component, I was like, please let these be the type of kids who are like, who cares? And they were, and it made the show so much more funny and fun to watch, in my personal opinion. I thought the cast was pretty entertaining, and while some of them maybe have learned literally nothing from this, I definitely think they all took something away from the experience, and they all really seemed to bond, and I had a good time watching them. I saw a lot of people who made reviews being like, these spoiled, annoying kids, blah, 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 blah. They're just like, don't have any care about money. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but that's kind of the show. That's what I wanted to watch, at least. It's kind of like watching like My Super Sweet 16 and being like, oh, this spoiled brat. It's like, what did you want from that, you know? But if you don't like that kind of show, it's probably isn't going to be the one for you. But I haven't seen Vanderpump Villa, so this might be a stretch saying it, but I think it might give similar vibes to that from what I know about that show. I'd also say it kind of gives like a below deck vibe since they're having to work together and live together. It's fun. I thought it was a really fun time. I had a great time binging it. Definitely recommend that one. And my last offering is certainly not the least of my offerings, and that is Insiders. Insiders is a Spanish reality show, and when I say this one is absolutely unhinged bonkers, I I'm like I feel like I'm understating it. This one I sometimes I just absolutely lost my ability to speak. But let me just start with like the premise of the show at least before we dive into like some of the absolute absurd things that they did. I say that like the premise itself isn't completely absurd. But the idea is they have these 12 people that they've brought to this set that they have told are in the final casting process for a reality show. They kind of like sell the story more by the way they have them set up. They even have the set like not looking finished, and they even talk about like, oh, we'll have people coming in and out, blah, 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 like while we're finalizing everything. And so they have one area where they know they're being filmed, there's no camera, they know there's cameras, and then they have the other area, which is more like their living area, where they don't think they're being filmed, because at this point, they don't think a reality TV show is happening. Really, I don't even think they realize they're being filmed in the other location, but they know it's possible more so. And as you can imagine, that gets them to catch wild stuff on camera. Like one girl who has a partner at home, like immediately starts cheating. Immediately. And just all this other stuff. Like they get stuff on camera of people being like, oh yeah, I'm obviously lying to this person and blah, blah, blah. And at some point, they get informed about everything that's happening. And to top that off, they lie to them even more, saying there's a live stream going with like 200 million people or 200,000 people, something like that, somewhere between those numbers, let's say. Then after they know they're being filmed, they still don't think they've made it onto the show yet. They do get to find out they're being filmed, but they don't think the show has started. Just to be clear on all that. They start to get to see some of the footage though. They'll put them in this giant theater and show them stuff. It is just such a wild roller coaster. And all the time they're saying they're like testing them to like see if they're going to be the perfect contestant. It's all just mind games. It's just producer mind games at the highest level. It borders on cruel. Honestly, if we're going to be super real about it, it is psychological torture. But it makes interesting TV. Like one of the ongoing mind games they're doing on them is they have them wearing these like biometric type bracelets that are supposed to be reading data somehow. I don't even know how. They don't give you any explanation because they tell you it's fake right off the bat. So there's no like science behind it, obviously. But they get these biometric bracelets and they have these little meetings with the producers where they'll show them like how good they're doing in the different areas or how bad they're doing. It'll be things like aggression or like sociability or vulnerability, kind of things of that nature, like aspects of a person you would want on a reality TV show that would make them interesting or a good player, any of that sort of stuff. But it's literally just made up. They just make it up. They even show clips of them when they were like making up some of the stuff, and it's literally just them like shooting the shit, being like, it'd be really funny if we lowered this. That would really upset him. And it's absolutely wild. In my opinion, the absolute worst thing that happens on the show, and when I say this, it like feels unreal. I've said this to multiple people, and every time I'm like, this doesn't sound like a thing I actually watched, but I did. They take them one by one into this room where there's like a rabbit in a cage, and they tell them to shoot the rabbit with a gun that is sitting there on the table. I am not fucking kidding you whatsoever. That is a real thing I witnessed. That almost did make me turn off the show. I was like, oh, but I think that's the worst. I feel like that. I don't think anything really tops that, in my opinion. That was absolutely bananas. I would recommend, if you don't want to see that part, you can just skip it, because really it has no bearing on anything else in reality for the show, because it literally is just them messing with them 24/7. It is just them messing with them. I should preface all that for if you are wanting to watch it. Spoiler alert, if you do want to watch it, skip ahead. The gun's not real. I mean, the gun is real, but they have blanks in it. The rabbit never gets harmed. I'm not going to tell you how many people or who may or may not have shot it, but at the end of the day, the rabbit lives. So no need to worry about that if you're, worried about that, because I sure was. I will give you that peace of mind if you do want to watch it and don't want to have to skip through it. You can fully rest assured the rabbit is A-okay at the end of that. You and those people are the only people damaged by it. And along with the producers messing with them, it is also very much a social game. They need to have friends in the house, because that's how people get voted in and out of who gets to stay, is among them voting for, I think, every single person who goes home. I don't think there's an exception to that. They don't really have, challenges going on. It's just psychological, the entire thing. It's very interesting, but I will say it is also kind of sad and mean. I will say though, I thought the whole concept was very interesting, and I do plan to watch season 2. There's 2 seasons of that show, but yeah, it was a weird one. It's a weird one for sure. I don't want to spoil much else format-wise, because I think that's kind of the fun of watching that show, is seeing all the ways that the producers are doing different stuff. The producers, it's so funny because there are obviously producers doing all of this, but they have 2 actors playing the role of producers, and that's the face of the producers that you see. It's all just so interesting. I definitely recommend it, but I will say, if you're more of whatever the easy listening equivalent is for reality TV, if that's more your jam, I wouldn't recommend this one for you. This one's definitely kind of heavy and psychological, but if that's your jam, definitely recommend it. And that is going to be a wrap on me trying to pitch to you that you need to check out the international section of Netflix's reality TV programming. I hope I've given you some good recommendations. If you're going to try any of them, definitely let me know that. If there's a show you think I should check out that I didn't list, definitely let me know. Obviously, those aren't all the shows I've watched. If I named all of them and talked about all of them, we would be here a lot longer. I just thought those 5 were some good ones, different variety, different countries that might interest different types of reality TV watchers. But if you have ones you want me to see, definitely recommend them down below, because I am always looking for them. If you made it this far, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it down below. If you like reality TV, check out the channel and subscribe. It is a good time over here. As always, I want to hear your thoughts, feelings, opinions, comments, all that and more down below. And until then, I'll see y'all in the next one.